Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel Park for a Sunday edition of Today at the Races. I'm Dan Ullman, along with Keith Fustel, on the heels of a really nice Saturday afternoon of racing at Laurel Park. 4 stakes races. All of the winners of the stakes races earned Beyer speed figures of 90 or greater, led by Quince Brew, the very impressive winner of the General George, career best 99 Beyer speed figure, and he validated his win in the Jennings.
Just really, really ultra impressive, I thought. Nice job of the rider. Took back early, worked a seam in between horses. Actually had a little bump around with that out arrival, the Marici horse, but just shadowed the speed well in hand, and it took over upper stretch a little chirp. It was over, no whip, did not go to the crop, and just was steadily hand-ridden and eager to the wire. Man, bigger things in store, I think, for Quince Brew. This one we talked about earlier, I could see him being a grade 3 stakes type in the near future.
We might see him in the Carter
up
next in a grade 2. That's where post time went after the General George win in 2024. Irish Maxima looks headed to New York as well after her win. She was just so brilliant in the Barbara Fritz. She broke through the gate prior to the start. Never easy to overcome that, but then she went right to the front under Frankie Pennington. Relaxed so easily, sprinted on home. John Service said the grade 3 distaff is next.
Okay, I can see that, and you're right. She's got pure speed, does it easily, and a great job by the gate crew with that. She was amped up a little bit, did not get away, remained in the hands of the assistant starter, got her reloaded, and you don't usually see horses recover like the way she did and come back and put on that kind of performance. It speaks volumes to how professional she is.
94 Beyer for Irish Maxima, 95 for Speediness, who went right to the front. It was nice to see Speediness win one. We'd seen him sometimes get a little bit late in his races, and J-Rod was saying once he made a 2-length lead in mid-stretch, ears came up, he started waiting. J-Rod got a little nervous, but Speediness held on. It was a game performance at 1 1/8. 95 Beyer.
Yeah, really, really good. Popped the latches, went clear early, was nursed along beautifully. Awfully cool second place finisher. Really good effort. Just prompted the whole way. Made another late lunge late. Just couldn't quite reel in Speediness. Both of those quality horses. Could not believe the exacta. Tremendous payout of $29 and some change for that exacta.
And Sea Dancer is just a new racehorse on dirt. 2 for 2 for Brittany Russell, 2 for 2 on dirt. The half-sister to turf-starred Johannes just traveled so sweetly in the Nellie Morse, got a nice rail run in the stretch and finished it off really strong.
I mean, just under a hammerlock for a majority of the way. The opening 3 quarters was Sheldon. A nice little job. Worked outside of a fading rival and then snuck through right to the inside of the leader. Nice little dual upper stretch, but she was just too good that final eighth of a mile. Another one where you look at so long this horse was on the turf. Yeah, it looks like dirt's her thing. Don't change it right now. I think she's on the bigger and better things as well. So, yeah, I mean, you look at some of these races, they were quality yesterday, quality performances. We'd like to get back some gradings, wouldn't we?
Oh, we'd love to get back some gradings. George deserves to be graded.
Absolutely.
Post-time, Quince Brew, absolutely the 2 last winners. We've got 8 on tap for our Sunday program. Let's take a look at the weather conditions, and it is wet out there. The main track is currently listed as sloppy, and the winds are likely to pick up a little bit later this afternoon. First post time, of course, 12:10.
Yeah, this is a day where you just kind of hunker down. I know my man Danny at GL Shacks, he watches the show every day. You'll sit there with a little natty light early in the day and watch the show and come up with some winners. Hopefully he was paying attention. Yesterday we had that little late audible because of the change of surface to Sin Permiso and got it done in the nightcap at 9-1. Danny, you can't speak bad about us anymore.
Oh, he will after we go 0 for 8 today. Race number 1 will kick things off. It is a maiden claimer, 12-5 down to 10, going a 1-turn mile. Maryland Breds have the option to run for a $15,000 claiming price. Let's scratch the number 1, Lucky Prince. Race number 1, of course, is the kickoff leg of the 12% takeout value pick 5. It's a low takeout with a 50-cent minimum wager, and you have a play.
Oh, I do have a play. It's a $32 play. We were right there to the end and couldn't get it done in race 5 yesterday. Well, you know what? We never give up, right? You never give up in these bets because you just need one. That's the beauty of these pick 5. So we go too deep to get you started in race 1. Be a Skybeam at a 6-5 morning line, going to draw a ton of play. And also the 6, Longworth. There's my value. It's because of the wet track. We'll talk about Longworth in a bit. Scratch that one, Lucky Prince. Race 2. Joe the Jet, I like his speed. Second off a break. Talking a little stat for that one for Hugh McMahon. And the 6, Dr. Kringle. I do think the 4 is going to be a force. I got to keep this ticket reasonable. Race 3. Spread around here, 1, 4, 5, 6. Any way you slice it there, competitive group of fillies and mares. Open 75, going 3/4 of a mile. Race 4, scratch the 4 in the dance. That's a key scratch in race 4. Splendor of Beauty is going to try to go right to the front. It looks like for Ness and J-Rod. I'm going to also use 3 captains. Stat that Dan came up with for Hammy Smith in race number 4. Finish it up. 2 and 3. We got a 6-1 morning line bowl diversion. Nola Boss off a kind of an interesting trip last time. Scratched the 4 and the 7. So I do think the odds are going to come down a little bit here on the 2 and the 3. But I'm going to use them for a $32 early value pick 5. Dive in, 12% takeout.
Let's talk about one of the price sources you're going to be using in the early value pick 5. That's the 6 Longworth.
Yeah.
I know he's 0 for 17 lifetime. I liked this horse a little bit last time out. He was returning off of a lengthy layoff, and maybe 6 furlongs was just a little bit too short. I think he gained a lot of fitness from that race. This distance is better for him. He's performed well on a wet track.
Can he just get back to the May 4th race at Laurel? The muddy sealed surface where he actually, now granted 24-249 and change, not blazing at all, but was forward enough to battle the whole way against Hard Traveler. Maybe that's enough. I expect him to be a little bit closer than last time. You see the short comment, bobbled break, saved ground, now stretching back out. I know he can get the distance. How fast he can get the distance is a major concern. But at this kind of number, down a little bit early to 11-1, we'll see if he can tick back up. Just maybe a stayer that can just get by late.
My top pick in here is the 2, I Feel Bad for You, Son, after Jamie Rodriguez won with speediness yesterday in the Campbell. He said on wet tracks, clean faces, win races. And Sarah Del Fabro, breaking from the rail here, is likely going to try to get to the lead if I Feel Bad for You, Son breaks, which didn't happen last time out.
No.
This horse didn't break very well, wound up 4 wide on the turn, and was drifting in a little bit when second behind a runaway winner. Favored that day. I think I Feel Bad for You, Son is going to show some speed. Del Frabo had her choice of the 2, the 7, and the 9. Lands here on the 2. So I'm hoping maybe she can get to the front as she searches for her first win in North America.
Pull a little Matilda Burnham, right? Like yesterday on Frosty the Giant, right to the front, nurse along, and turn away all challengers. Yeah, I feel bad for you, Son. You look at the internals, 2 races back, 23, 247, and 1. In range of that, that's going to be good enough as she goes ahead and gets aggressive from the gate. I like your instructions for Sarah Del Fabro, Dan. I like that right to the front.
Horse to beat, however, is the 4, Be a Skybeam for J-Rod Elliott Sullivan. Just has a big speed figure advantage. Came off a lengthy layoff last time out. Caught a speed-friendly track. Was wired by an odds-on winner and still tried hard for second. If this horse runs back to his figs, it's going to be very tough.
Yeah, and you're looking at the bottom side. King Mambo, this horse has tried a route of ground prior. That was before Lasix. Seems ready to, should be ready to score here. That some of the stats don't lean my way. Shorter price. I'm going to try to upset Be a Skybeam in the opener. I think another one we're going to have to look at real quick is the 3. Blind Eye for Marici, Weston Hamilton. We have the video of the start of this race, and that's the key. It's just completely obliterated.
Oh, just knocked sideways completely at the start, and you don't recover from that. Blind Eye fell far, far behind after that, and basically gave an even performance afterwards. This horse really has a wet track pedigree. His sire, McLean's Music, scores at 19% on the wet track. And if you go back to Blind Eye's prior dirt race, you've got to go all the way back to 2023. And guess what? In an off-turf race, the horse just missed by a neck on a track that I thought was very speed-favoring at Delaware Park. 6-4-3-2 for Keith, 2-4-6-8 for me in the opener. Let's move on to race number 2. It's a 40,000 down to 32 claimer for 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races. A field of 6 in here. It is the first leg of our 50-cent minimum wager pick 4. We've got early. We've got late pick 4s today. If you get knocked out of the pick 5, please play the pick 4. This is a pretty interesting race. Joe the Jet is your top selection in here, and we have a video spotlight for Joe the Jet.
Yeah, I thought this was a good return. Laid off from late March, comes back in February, a little bump around at the break, and he surprised me here against this group. I didn't quite see this kind of speed coming from him, and he showed it. Now, he showed it back break in the maiden, but those fractions were not too demanding whatsoever. I love the fight that he shows down inside. He's just battling. I'm sorry, he's too wide here, battling the whole way. Just a slight fade through the final furlong. Encouraging effort, moving back out to a route of ground for Hugh McMahon.
Every reason to fade. I mean, it's his first race off an 11-month layoff. You see him getting bumped at the start. He's battling for the lead, and he ends up behind the two favorites. I thought this was an excellent race off the layoff. He has a very strong wet track pedigree. He's a 1/2-to-1 wet track winner, the dam one on a wet track. And as you mentioned, he has been a pace presence going a mile in the past, and successful at the mile. We also see Hugh McMahon, past 3 years, Laurel Dirt Sprinter out.
Yeah, pretty good. 19% ROI, 353. A barn recently we talked about, his ROI was the last 30 days right around that $5 mark. You got to like that. I think certainly the off track is going to be just fine. You're looking at force to pass. It's a very small sample. One of the horses might have 2 of the wins on the off track.
13, right?
Yeah, so it's been good, like a 30% strike rate for this stallion. Again, there's not a lot of true speed in here. Maybe Mad Banker can force the issue. But I think if Joe the Jet can clear and relax, I think he can maybe repel a challenge turning for home and keep going.
I think J-Rod off the Jamie Ness claim is going to have Mad Banker at least close.
Okay.
Like Joe the Jet, this horse returned from a lengthy layoff last time out and ran pretty well. He was sort of tracking the pace in the pocket after a half mile, had to be urged along a little bit and then finished evenly. I think this horse probably needed the race. Now with Ness and J-Rod, I think he'll be close to the pace, if not outright on the lead, and he'll be in the thick of things when the field turns for home. Mad Banker, Joe the Jet, they're the speeds. The strongest closer in the race is the number 6, Dr. Kringle. And we do have a stat for Mike Giralis, and I believe the stat has even improved over the last few days. I think he's 4 for 13 now because
right.
he won with that horse off the long layoff, Wild Hunch,
Yes.
in the opener on Friday. So 4 for the last 13, that's 31%. The ROI goes up. Dr. Kringle is a horse that always seems to take a lot of money. He is only 1 for 21 lifetime, but it's worth noting the one win came on a wet track. He likes it.
Yeah, 4 for 4 in the money. You talked about that win. The 2-back try at Churchill, good enough, lacking room. And when he was really getting ready to ramp up and make that run into the stretch, still kept on willingly. A surface change here. A lot to like. Despite that record, I think against this group in a shorter field, Dr. Kringle, he's shown the ability to play a little bit closer. I don't think he wants to be too far back. I think you're going to have to see Villalobos 2-3 out of it, turning for home if he's really going to make a mark in race number 2.
1, 6, 4, and 3 for Keith. 4, 6, 3, 1 for me. Race number 2, kickoff leg, early 50-cent pick 4. Race number 3 is next. 7,500 down to 6,000 claimer for fillies and mares. We've got a strong field of 8 in here, and this is the first leg of our 20-cent Chesapeake pick 6 wager. Pick the first place finisher in each of the 6 races. You get the whole jackpot if you're the only winner. If not, you're still going to get something.
Yes.
This is a pretty fun race, 6 furlongs. These are hard-hitting fillies and mares. They've been around for a long time. You're going back to R. Avery Lynn.
I am 0 for 10 at Laurel, but 6 seconds, 2/3. Wet track record, 11 starts, 2 wins, 6 seconds, and a third. Had a turn of foot last time. She's shown speed in the past, but boy, she was really good. I know the internals don't look that sharp, but that track wasn't super fast, and outran some fast fillies and mares. Dead game to come back for second. I think J-Rod can go ahead, throw her into the pace early. She might be the survivor in here. There's not really a deep closer in this group.
Yeah, there really isn't a deep closer in this group. Mania had his choice of our Avery Lynn, and I believe the one-horse Tamchar, and landed on Tamchar, your second pick.
Yeah.
But our Avery Lynn's a horse, sometimes she gets a little bit antsy behind the gate, and then last time out she got beat by odds-on True Sensation, as you mentioned. Let's talk a little bit about Tamchar, beaten favorite last time out. Looked like it was being confidently handled, going 7/8, but I just don't think 7/8 is her trip. Getting back to 6, and she likes a wet track.
I thought she was going to be okay in there. You hit it right. She hit the head of the lane and was struggling a little bit, faded that last 1/8 of a mile. She's got to try to get pole. That's the thing. Can she work enough to get the pole and then make another move into it? Because you've got horses, like Hypnotizada that's got speed. Our Avery Lynn, far outside. I think Forgotten Gift's going to be running and gunning. Another one by Bandbox, who does like the off track. So can she get position, get a little bit of a breather to bring a finish off the 7/8 might move her up a little bit today.
I think I'm going to get a big price on the 3 Hypnotizada, half to 1 wet track winner. This horse, has been running on turf, has been running on synthetic against the boys on synthetic.
Yeah.
3 starts back, showed some speed and tired. She's fast, and at least I think I'm going to get a thrill with this horse for the first half mile.
Yeah.
The last time she ran on a sloppy dirt track was Penn National back in August. Martina Rojas had the mount that day, only got beat a length and a quarter. I think she's a little bit better than she looks on paper, and I know the price will be right, but she might have to overcome a lot of pace pressure.
Okay. Yeah, I thought this was a really, really tough race. Loving Cup and At First Sight, I think if they pop on the board, especially At First Sight, this one's going off the claim for Mancy. It's been an okay move, but I think might have been a little too close for her liking against that group last time. I think she's better suited to sit a little bit further off and try to make that move along with Loving Cup.
Yeah, At First Sight was in against Pino's Little Girl, who we'll talk about a little bit, came back to run very well out of that race. Race 3, 5, 1, 6, and 4 for Keith, 3, 6, 5, and 1 for me. Let's move on to race number 4. We're going a 1-turn mile. We're going to scratch the number 4 in the dance. It's a starter optional claimer. Starter $12,000. Optional claiming price $20,000. Splendor Beauty, the 9-5 morning line favorite. This is the first leg of our late value pick 5, which has carryover potential. Low takeout, 12% takeout, and our Mackenzie Pfeiffer has a ticket.
There you go, $36 ticket, too deep to get you started with Splendor Beauty and 3 captains. I think she's right on my 2 top selections in there. Race 5. Again, here we go. We're matching up. Bold Diversion, Nola Boss, 2-3 in race 5. Race 6. 1, 3, and 6 set ablaze on a surface change and a barn change going here for Robbie Bales, who's had an excellent run of late. Race 7, she's got the 1, the 8, and the 10. Scratch the 5, 6, and 7. Interesting call, another play out yesterday, out again today. That was the one thing about her. Maybe the off track didn't suit her those couple races. So we're going to scratch 5, 6, and 7. She's going to end up with the 1, 8, and 10. A little price on the inside runner, Brittany Russell. You don't see that, but I think she'll hold value in race number 7. She'll complete her late value pick 5 with that 12% takeout in race 8 with the 4 anonymously and the 7 Pino's Little Girl. They look like the 2 to beat in race number 8, our nightcap. It's a $36 late value pick 5 for Mackenzie Pfeiffer.
And you're with Mac in the first leg. You like the 3 Splendor Beauty. We have a video spotlight of Splendor Beauty, a horse that last time out, Splendor Beauty just sort of broke outwards. And I think that might have hurt his chances a bit because he likes to show speed, and then he pulls really hard in the early stages, and he goes after his entry mate.
This particular day was able to go ahead and clear off and relax and go ahead and set the pace. But you're right. Last time out, off a little awkwardly. It took restraint. I think they wanted to avoid a duel between Afraid of the Bunny and Splendor Beauty, and that's kind of what happened. So Splendor Beauty went ahead and was able to kind of press and then just fade slightly. This particular day, the other Nest runner, Amity Road, was used quite wide the first turn. Might help the chances, with a better trip today coming off of that race at Parks. But Splendor Beauty is able to kind of control things. I think that's going to be the tactics today for J-Rod. He does it so well. When he's up there nursing, he'll play a little cat and mouse. He likes to go for maybe that inside of the 3-path, a little float if needed. Splendor Beauty on the left lead there late, but holding sway, tries to control it this afternoon.
It's been an issue with this horse the last couple of races. Hasn't changed leads in his races, but again, he is the main speed in here. He really seems to like a wet track. You talked about 3 captains for Hammy Smith. His Celtic Contender ran very, very well in the George yesterday, went second to Quince Brew. We've got a stat for 3 captains. Sprint to dirt route, 3 for the last 11, 27% to 429 ROI, and this horse has won going sprint to route in the past.
We saw Hammy yesterday. Allowance back to the claiming. You're going to see it again here with 3 captains. The last time out, just chasing better horses. Flow should be a little bit more to his liking. Wins at 7/8 of a mile. Wins on and off track. The numbers fit. Yeah, I think this horse can ramp up and get into position by the time they turn to the head of the lane. It doesn't want to give up too much around the turn. Wants to be in range of Splendor Beauty to reel that one in. But your top selection is interesting. Tops the charts, a horse by McLean's Music. Likes the off track. They've changed kind of the running style of like the last few races of tops the charts. Will that work today, or do you expect them to try to move and be a little bit
I
closer?
would certainly like him to be a little bit
Okay.
closer because I don't see a ton of speed in this race, but I didn't think this horse had the greatest trip last time out. Off a beat slow, steadied and forced very wide on the first turn, then dropped inside to track in the pocket, and then sort of finished evenly over and behind horses. I think a cleaner trip is coming for Tops the Chart, and I would like to see him get a little bit close to the pace. Splendor Beauty, though, looks like the horse to catch and potentially the horse to beat. 3, 7, 5, and 1 for Keith. 5, 3, 7, 2 for me. We're 4 down. We got 4 to go. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with the late pick 4.
Baltimore! To the city of Baltimore, to all the fans watching around the world, riders up!
They're off in the Preakness.
All eyes of the world will be on Baltimore.
They're head and head. Seabiscuit leads by a length. Seabiscuit is the winner.
And it was a powerhouse race again by the big, strong Secretariat.
Sunday Silence takes the lead at the quarter pole.
American Pharaoh, phenomenal in the Preakness. And the filly did it! Rachel Alexandra! Here is Smarty Jones. He wins the Preakness by a dozen lengths.
Sees the grave, wins the Preakness.
Welcome back to Today at the Races on a Sunday morning here at Laurel Park. The track's still sloppy. Race number 5, 6 furlongs, 40 down to 32. These are 3-year-old claimers. We take a look at the field for race number 5. It's a pretty strong group. The 4 Who Says So, the 7 Steel Vengeance is scratched. I thought Steel Vengeance was going to take some money in this race. It's the first leg of our late 50-cent pick 4 wager. And Keith, I think we're both looking at Nola Boss with a little bit of question. This horse looked so good scoring 2 starts back for the waiver, and last time out, it just didn't work out. We have a video spotlight for Nola Boss.
Yeah, a little bump up, I thought, off of that really good score with the 63 buyer, and you're kind of breaking down the variance and everything. Solid time, 11 and 2. But this particular day, you know, you look at the trip, and I'm going to read a little bit from William Humphrey. So if you don't pay attention, you know, you should be paying attention, I should say, to our website now with the trip notes. You got a broke okay, a little not rushed, a little touch rank in behind horses early on. And I think that just kind of got Nola Boss off of his game, flopped to an incorrect lead around 3. I just think something was not right with Nola Boss this particular day. Protected late through the stretch by Sheldon. I like the fact, not a precipitous drop. We're going to kind of hold here at 40. It works for me. I think you're going to see, with a better break, more positional speed, be up with the flow. I just think something turned him off his game that day, and he's bred to be just fine on and off track.
And he was in against a good field as well last time out. That runner-up Slam Motion's a nice
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Will be a heavy favorite. He was in this race. Came back to run second, just missing with a 76 buyer. So the drop works, and I won't be surprised if Nola Boss shows a little bit more speed in this race. Bold Diversion's sort of a question mark for me as well. Forced off the Rudy Sanchez Solomon claim because this horse won for only 12.5 last time out, but did it so easily. Thought was bumped both sides at the start, wound up in between horses, and once it was time to go, split horses 3 wide and went on his way to beat 2 next out winners. The Dam won on a wet track. He's a half to a wet track winner. We'll learn a lot more about his overall quality here.
I think the protect move is fine, and I don't know if it's a huge jump. I mean, overall, I guess, over that 12-5 competition, but just a race further back. Keep 4-5 by Artillery Gunner. There's a horse that came back to win and beat an okay field. He's an all right horse. Second time Lasix. Forrest comes back aboard, you know, wanted to get back and ride Bold Diversion. Blofeld off track. I think this one's going to be okay. I like the spot right back. Worth the protect move.
I got Schrader in here as my second choice. We have a video spotlight on Schrader going out for Hugh McMahon. He'll get Lasix for the first time today.
Yeah, this is a guy, again, early on in his career, he was showing the ability, and I thought he was going to move up from it. He just hasn't. But again, here's another protect move. It was a recent scratch. Lasix going on. Wide every step of the way, but just kind of grinds it out. I think he's got sneaky speed if you want to get it from him, too. So maybe Weston's going to be instructed with Top Blood, a horse that doesn't have a whole lot of speed, set for life just to the inside. Let's be a little bit more aggressive, get his attention, get him involved, and he might just battle from the quarter pole home.
And Hugh going into this week, between January 18th, February 8th, 6 for 28, a 527 ROI. You're right, this horse made 2 moves last time. I tried to show speed, but they ran 22 and change for the opening quarter. Out sprinted. You saw him come on late. That race produced 2 next out winners. The winner of the race, Bangkok Bob's a nice horse, came back to run second for 32 with a 67 buyer. Schrader's Dam was 2 for 2 on a wet track. The second dam won on a wet track as well. Let's talk a little bit about Set for Life and a little bit risky. Let's start with a little bit risky.
All right, a little bit risky. Just kind of lost all chance last time out. Hesitated to break. You see that shorter comment, caught 4 wide with a move into that flow to fade. Another one that's moving up off the claim this time for Kieran McGee, who, as we know, year in and year out, very good off the claim. Has back numbers to work. Off track, yes, should be fine. Great Notion, Roman Ruler on the bottom. A cleaner break, and you just might see Torrealba go from the inside. I could see that happening.
Set for Life also cutting back in distance after being wired in a slow-paced race against Better. Just think this horse fits very well against these. Let's talk about Top Blood.
Yeah, Top Blood. This is a horse that Dave Rodman is on. He likes Top Blood, and it was a very eventful opening, I don't know, 3/8 of a mile going long. That mile in the 16th try last time. Short comment, bumped, ranked, checked off and behind rivals, and just that was it. Took too much of the run out, packed it in. Turning back in distance, has an okay try at 7. A good, solid sweeping move 2 races back. If things heat up, Top Blood avoid any early trouble. Just relaxes a bit. We were wondering if this horse was going to be gelded, but we see back still a colt. Could really ramp it up.
Good sign this horse is back on short notice. It looks so good in his race 2
Oh,
starts back
really
that
good.
there is some ability here to be sure. 3-2-6-8 for Keith, 2-8-1-5 for me in race number 5. We'll move on to race number 6, 3/4 of a mile. Maiden Claimers, 20 down to 16. Maryland Breds can run for the $25,000 claiming option. It's the $1 jackpot super high 5 wager. Lift the lids, 7-5 on the morning line. Brittany Russell, Javion Toledo, beaten favorite last time out at Penn National. You could argue she was against better horses that day.
Yeah, and that was not the easiest. 2 tough trips for this one. The debut try, Ms. Notion, and a next out winner, but also a little steady at Penn National. Did make that wider move, 4 to 5 wide, top of the lane, but horse rider, they weren't super energetic the last 3/16. They were tired, I think, from the earlier efforts and just fizzled through the last 8th. Lift the Lid needs to break better. Avoid that early steady. And against this group on the drop, we know what Brittany does. Maiden special weight, the maiden claiming when she attacks, they usually win. But we're going to go elsewhere. We're going to go for a little bit better price. You got 7-5 on Lift the Lid morning line. I like the 6-1 offered here for Set Ablaze.
Set Ablaze, interesting spot in the debut, trying turf, going 5.5 at Colonial, and I thought showed a little bit of speed that day before getting tired at the end of that race. This horse is bred for dirt by Holy Boss. The dam won 8 races on the dirt. The second dam won the dirt. This is the family of Grade 1 Dirt Stakes winners. Zoftig, the dam won on a wet track. I trust Robbie Bales with these sort of horses. I think Set Ablaze is going to run better on dirt today. We'll see if he can beat the drop down.
Robbie's on a good little run right now. Another hope with speed. Sabra Song is another horse we're going to talk about. Let's go to the video of the 9 Sabra Song for John Salzman Jr. The winner yesterday, right?
Absolutely.
And right here, this was it. It was just too tough. Lost the footing, a stumble there in behind, sandwiched at the break. A filly that you thought was going to be able to possibly go right to the front or contest the early pace gets used to get about 3, 4, 5 wide, kind of dragging the riders. Not really easy. Just she was eager, ramped up. 4 wide, 2 contention, and then it was all she wrote. Probably by the time they hit the top of the stretch, is going to go ahead and fade. Protected late. Coming back, second time Lasix, second time blinkers. This outer draw could prove really nice and beneficial for Sabra Song.
If this horse breaks, this horse is going to the front. We see Salzman has 3 years on the dirt, 3-year-old second time Lasix, 29% ROI, $2.76 ROI. Again, in against Chrissy N last time out, came back to run a good third in a first level allowance with a 69 buyer. Sabra Song has a big excuse, as we saw in the last race, an excuse to back against the boys, against Slam Notion. And I thought the debut race was fine because this horse showed good speed, a little bit late to change leads in the stretch, but Sabra Song's going to show good early foot in here. Lift the Lid might be the horse to beat on the drop down. Sabra Song might be the horse to catch. We're looking at a little bit of an interesting pedigree play with Set Ablaze. You're going 6-9, 1-7. I'm going 6-8, 2-1. I got Rylands looking lucky in here. Lasix on, blinkers off. They ran 1-2 around last time out. This horse got a little bit of a break. I think that Rylands looking lucky at a big price with the Lasix on can do a little better.
And I'm going to toss in Arise My Love, the 7-horse for Milan Milosevic, Warning Drums Racing. I think they had a winner recently. You've got Forest Boys here. This is just a barn that's been sneaky good with the maidens, the firsters of late. You're looking at the debut maiden, claiming 29% strike rate with a big ROI. This one as well. Bourbon Courage, topside, 13% wet track. Mare was second in debut. We're going way, way back. I saw that. I think it was a Calder with a 77. But just the way this barn has been going over the last 6 months, 9 months with the first-time starters piques my interest a little bit at a number because things could get heated up front, and Forrest is going to be patient and just try to finish up with Arise My Love.
And there's some pedigree here. The dam, a stakes-winning turf miler. The second dam, a multiple stakes-winning dirt sprinter. Nice versatility and class in this pedigree. 6-9-1-7 for Keith, 6-8-2-1 for me. In the sixth, let's move on to the seventh. It's our feature. We're going a mile and a 16th. Second level allowance with a $40,000 claiming option. Fillies and mares 4 and up. Take out the 5, take out the 6, take out the 7. They are big scratches. Michael Sanchez aboard the 9, Majestic Creed. Andres Chavez aboard the 10, Lovely Charm. And Lovely Charm does have good early speed.
Horse just to her inside. The 5-year-old mare Majestic Creed might have something to say and go ahead and go. But Lovely Charm, you've got the benefit of 3 scratches in here. Not a slew of speed to the inside except for the 9. I think she can go ahead and shadow if need be. Her last race I thought was pretty good, being able to prompt that pace to win going away by 6 and change. I gave it the eager comment. I always pay attention to those horses coming back. It's kind of a key word, eager, sharp. You see those in the short comments. These horses usually come back and run well by Irish War Cry. Top-sided at about 17% on the wet going. So I think when they turn for home, the road's going to go through Lovely Charm. But I like your top horse, Marvelous, is a horse that we struck gold on a couple races back on the same kind of angle. Lasix back on.
That really could be the key for Marvelous. And Marvelous in that race wasn't as far back as usual. She was traveling so well that day. She looked so good. You could understand why they stepped her up into a stakes race once again. And with the Lasix off in the stakes race, she didn't run as well. The pace wasn't very fast, and she just didn't kick on. If she can run back to that race that we saw when she won, boy, I think she really fits with these horses. But I am always afraid that she could get outrun a little bit in the early portion of this race. Stop the Cap is where you're going, and we have a video spotlight for Stop the Cap.
Yeah, I think I'm going to key around, Dan. I think I'm going to key around the 4 and the 8 top and bottom of this race. But let's go to the video for Stop the Cap. A couple races back, did beat Lovely Charm. That was at the 1-turn mile on a muddy sealed surface. We're going to go to the most recent race at 7/8, and you're going to see Stop the Cap just kind of stalled. Waiting, and just needs that room here, top of the lane. It's going to work out a trip. Top of the stretch, I think finishes up quite well, just falls just short to the long shot, right? This was nice surprise. But, a little late here to switch leads as well, right? Just making that grinding run is Stop the Cap. I think she can handle the 2 turns.
Oh, I don't think the 2 turns is going to be a problem for her. You still see she's on her left lead, and you wonder if she changes, does she win? That could be key, and she has changed leads in the past, so I'm not really too worried about that, especially over a wet track. She's 2 for 3 on wet, and I like that she has the tactical speed. And stretching out, she should show it in here. She should be in a very good position. 8, 4, 10, and 2 for Keith, 4, 3, 9, and 8 for me in race number 7.
You got a real price here. We're not going to let you go, right? Regale the 3?
Regale the 3, I think, has got some back races.
Yeah, you got a nice number here. This could be a huge exacta 4-3.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Regale then real quick. I thought Regale last time out in the carousel was completely overmatched against Sea Dancer. We saw what Sea Dancer could do. 2 starts back in that second level allowance against Marvelous. Didn't really fire the best shot, but I like the blinkers on move here for this horse. This horse just doesn't have any speed. Needs to be sharpened up. We saw Sammy Davis win a race earlier this week, so this barn is moving in the right direction. I think Regaled with the blinkers on is just going to give a better try. But again, pace makes the race, and if he doesn't get it, she could be in trouble.
Yeah, Rodman woke me up to the 2 Western Lane. I kind of glazed over that one off of the return try, beating a couple lengths by Stop the Cat. But you see the short comment, mildly worked an inside-out trip. Now, you're looking at off track. How about 3 starts, 2 wins, a second and a third? Buyer figures that are close, pretty much good enough, can handle the stretch out here to 2 turns. So an interesting move here. Another one at a bigger number. Unfortunately, it's going to come down with the scratches. But good wake up here for Rodman, for me at least, because Western Lane, I will be using this one in the mix.
8-4-10-2 for Keith, 4-3-9-8 for me. We'll see how this pace shapes up in race number 7. We'll close things out with race number 8. We're going 5.5 furlongs, and we'll take out the 1. Always Laughing. We'll take out the 5, Destined to Dance. It's a 5.5 furlong race, 12,000 starter, 20,000 optional claimer for fillies and mares 4 and up. You got to figure Anonymously is just going to take a lot of money in here. She's won her last 3. She was claimed by Kieran McGee. We have a Kieran stat for Anonymously. First off the claim recently, 4 for the last 12, $2.77 ROI, and this horse has just been very comfortable. She's got a lot of back class, and she handles a wet track. She was listed as a vet scratch on January 25th.
Yeah, that was the thing that concerned me the most, and interesting that they ran her back for a tag off of that claim from November 15th to late December, but she dominated there, got a good little setup with the duel going on, and it probably was her best visual performance, performance visually on and off track. She comes back to that kind of surface this afternoon, but will she get that setup again? She naturally can lay close enough as well. She's a 14-time winner. You got to love that. But I go outside with the 7. Pino's Little Girl. We've got a video spotlight of this one with Thais Liapastina second off the claim. This is really good. Recovered after the stumbling.
Yeah, just kind of stumbled a bit at the start, didn't get away clean at all, and now has to work very hard to get into the race. Watch again, the number 8 just breaks slow in here, and that's not Pino's Little Girl's game. 2 starts back, she went right to the front, and now Thais is trying to figure out how are we going to figure this out, and unfortunately, this horse is pulling a little bit and now rushing up while losing ground. All in all, Pino's Little Girl runs a big race to finish second. After the troubled start, after rushing up into the teeth of the pace, she's still fighting it out all the way down to the wire.
Opening quarter, 22-3. So what did she run to get in that?
21-3.
Yeah, what did she run to get involved there? And she battles 3 deep. Still going very, very nicely outside of 2 rivals. A little hiccup there, a little drift in, but she's straightened by Liapastina. And again, off track certainly going to help. I think she could be in for a top figure here today for Rudy Sanchez Solomon, second off the claim. Cleaner break, and I think she gets the jump on these.
And this outside post, I think, today is going to help her if she breaks well because it gives options. Photo finish should show a little bit of speed for J. Ness and J. Rod. This horse was chasing a very fast pace last time out in the Pino's Little Girl race, but Pino's Little Girl just ran better than she did, I thought, so I couldn't really go there. Principia is very interesting, though, for Ness and Michael Sanchez. We do have a Jamie Ness stat for Principia. Winner last out, first start off a 2 to 4 month layoff, 7 for the last 15, 47%, a 287 ROI. So usually you see a horse win and then they go on layoffs. You worry. What happened? Well, if they're sharp, you don't take them away from what they're doing. It works very well for Jamie. This horse scored at Parks last time out. I did not love the field she beat.
Okay, I agree with you there. I just think this is going to be the 7's race to lose. If she breaks cleanly, let's get right on the engine and let's control it up front.
7, 4, 2, and 6 for Keith. 4, 6, 7, and 2 for me in race number 8. Value play time. Keith, what's the value? You gave a value yesterday in the last race. That was a beautifully done pick.
And hopefully this is done the same way, right to the front. We're going to stay here with race 8 with the 7 Pino's Little Girl. Avoid the stumble at the break. Outer post is good. She can measure any inside speed. I think she can separate around the turn from this group. She's got the heart, the stamina to hold sway here, and I think she's going to move up on and off track.
After the scratches, I'm not sure how much value I'm going to get with my value play, but I'm going to stick with Marvelous, a horse that I really believed in after that race 2 starts back, I believe it was, where she won very, very easily. Lasix back on here, I think, is going to help. Would like to see her just a little bit closer to the pace. That's it for the Sunday edition of Today at the Races. Callie Francois, Mackenzie Pfeiffer, Dave Rodman will take you through the afternoon. And speaking of the great Dave Rodman, let's go up to him for scratches and changes.
All right, good luck.